Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to welcome you all to the Dynasty Builder Wednesday special edition with Leah Garcia in the Hello Plaza in Metaverse, that we want you all to come and be a part of this amazing conversation. We have everybody joining us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram, on X. Every single channel, we are omnipresent. And if you don't know, we have the amazing Leah Garcia, Wealth Today, Dynasty Tomorrow. She serves entrepreneurs. She serves enterprise, wealth, and everybody that definitely wants to get their dynasty for tomorrow and protect your distribution, transfer your wealth. The amazing wall of wealth, you have to go get your fitness finance score in her amazing biz in a box that is more than a website. It is an actual experience into her fine literacy. Amazing person, amazing grandma, amazing individual that everybody knows from around the world. And without further ado, we have the Leah Garcia, the one and only ma'am. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing today? Talk to us in your amazing Halloween costume edition.
Yeah, I got my Halloween costume on. I'm ready to get this party started. Thank you for the amazing introduction, but I have a little gentle pushback. I am not a grandmother. I am Gam Gams. My precious grandson will let you know I'm Gam Gams. They asked him at school, do you have a grandmother? He said, no, I have a Gam Gams and a nanny. I don't have a grandmother.
That is too cute for school. I love it. You know, everybody has a unique name that they want to be called. I know in our family, it's Nana, I think is the name. So that is too cute. I love it. Welcome on in, Miss Lee. I am excited to have the Halloween edition here of how we're going to help people grow their financial literacy today. So first and foremost, how do I retire if my business is my retirement plan?
Wow, that is a great question. You know, most businesses tell me that their business is a retirement plan. I'm getting an echo. Do you guys hear an echo?
No.
Okay.
David's on your end.
Let's see. How about now? Okay, that's so much better.
No echo. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm still hearing the echo. So this is going to confuse me. Okay, I can get focused. So most business owners will tell me when I ask them, what is your retirement plan? They'll look around their office and say, this is my retirement plan. However, they haven't put things in place so that they can gracefully and monetarily leave their business. And I always say begin with the end in mind. And a lot of times they are taking every single deduction because they don't want to overpay taxes, and they've never had a business valuation. And those are the two key elements. If you're taking every deduction and you're claiming you're making no money, then your business is not going to have a value. No one is going to buy a business that is not in the black. If you're in the red every year or it's very, very thin margins, that's not an attractive business to purchase. So it comes down to strategic planning. You have to really understand you're going to have to pay taxes. You're going to have to show that your business is successful. And at the same time, having a way to monetize your business, meaning that you have a business valuation, which is not the same as a business evaluation. You want your business to be valued so that a third party has looked at everything and they said, this is what the business is a value. This is what it is, a sellable value. And if you are a service-based business and you think, wow, my business really, I don't have anything to really sell, I'm the business, then that's a real problem. We have to figure out ways on how to transfer your knowledge with that business. So maybe we're going to train someone, we're going to leave all the proper strategies and tools and instruments so that whoever takes over your business can have a true plug and play type of business. So I hope that's a good starting point, I hope.
Yeah, it really does help, because that scenario that you just described was that essentially, and I've seen so many owners that have basically said, I am the business. You know, you can't sell me because I am. And I can list 5 individuals off the top of my head. They're no longer in business because, you know, they're in retirement age, but that was the challenge they were up against. So it's really helpful that you break down that conversation and share with people that there is, if that is something that they're like, well, how could I ever sell my business for the future if it is me? You know, I am the retirement plan. There's options. And that's what is key here and why we're having this conversation. So how can I reduce taxes when I sell my business or I retire?
Good question. That comes from advanced tax planning. It's not something you're going to do retroactively, right? You have to have that planning in advance. So knowing your business valuation, knowing truly what that value is of your business and how much taxes that you're looking at facing. So advanced tax strategies, it requires a team. You really have to have what I call the 4-pillar professionals. It requires having a CPA or an EA that specializes in your industry. It's not enough just to have a tax professional. You need somebody that can take you through an audit and that specializes in your industry. If you get a referral and that referral is he's a dentist and you happen to be a contractor, that tax professional might not be the right person for you. And then you need to have your estate planning attorney, a tax attorney, and a financial strategist. So that's your licensed life insurance agent that can implement those advanced strategies. So it really comes from advanced planning. If you're looking to sell your business in the next 3 to 5 years, that tax planning starts now so that we can put the things in place to minimize your taxes and maximize your potential for that gain on your business.
That's beautiful.
I love it. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. So, one of the other questions that I have, is a lot of people will say, well, how much money do I need to retire? And how do I calculate that when it is time, to retire? Can you share more about that?
Yeah, that's a real tricky question. The traditional industry says that you can only spend about 4% of whatever your investment retirement nest egg is. So for example, if you have $1 million in your retirement account, 4% is not that much money, you guys. And that's not enough money for most people to live, especially if you're an entrepreneur or business owner. We generally tend to spend more money than the average bear. So it's knowing a couple of key things. What is your true monthly expenses in retirement? If you still have a mortgage and those kinds of things, to me, with all due respect, that's not a true retirement. So you should be debt free. And then knowing what those expenses are and accounting for inflation. And if you know those core factors, then we can look at things like how can we create an income stream from your nest egg, from your retirement plan that you can never outlive. It's essentially creating your own private pension. And the way that I do it for my happy clients is I allow them, because we are using advanced investment strategies, alternative secured investment strategies, they're able to spend up to 15% as opposed to the 4%. So long story short, if you've got $1 million towards your retirement, that's $150,000 that you can spend annually without spending down your seed money. That's the key, not spending the seed. We want to protect the seed money so that it doesn't matter how long you live, because the biggest problem that people face, the biggest fear is it's not dying. It is a fear of outliving their money.
I think everybody has that fear because we have been conditioned that you need money to have a roof over your head or food in your belly. And so nobody wants to ever get to the end of the rope and still have, more life and no rope left, right? And so that is for you to actually put in calculations of if your, investment portfolio, and if you're, looking at this amount, you're going to be living off of this amount. X equals, X and Y equals Z, essentially. And that's what people need, because everybody's situation is different. And as we have had conversations multiple times, none of us want to have these conversations about our finances out loud and open, because it's kind of been a hush conversation while we've all grown up with our elderly generation of, before us, the baby boomers and Gen X. And I know my baby always were like, don't ever talk finances, ever, ever, never, ever, ever, ever. So you're told that, and then now we're living in an age where financial literacy needs to be discussed, talked about. It's okay. None of us have a perfect portfolio or a snapshot, and that's where we start, and that is now goes against the grain. So when you break down how much you need to retire, that actually helps people. So what's the best way to pull money out of a business without actually killing your cash flow?
Yeah, before I answer that, I want to kind of circle back to what you just shared, Ms. Tara. That's a great point. Our baby boomer parents had a different retirement plan. They had pensions that they had from their jobs, meaning that they had an income stream that was provided to them because they worked somewhere for 30, 40, 50 years. And they had Social Security. So they didn't really have the onus on themselves to provide their retirement. It was pretty much provided for them. But us today, we're entrepreneurs, we're business owners. We really have to take charge of our own retirement. So how can they leverage, forgive me, what was the question again?
Yeah, it was, what's the best way? First of all, great point. We have to switch that thinking and actually put into perspective what is at play. All those factors you listed is absolutely true. And now we don't have that basis. So it leads us into the next question here of what's the best way to pull money out of a business without killing your cash flow? So how do you do this without cutting your nose off to spite your face?
Yeah, that is such a great question. A lot of times business owners are looking to have more cash flow, so they're thinking that they need to increase their income some way. But oftentimes there's things that they're overspending on. There's some blind spots that they could shore up that would automatically increase their cash flow in their business. For example, they may be overpaying in their benefits packages. Maybe they have a traditional benefit packages and they're unaware of some other options like the zero net cost benefit option if they have more than 20 full-time employees that I help my clients with. They may be overspending in their interest on their debt. I teach advanced strategies where they could pay off that debt quickly without overpaying, without double payments, without paying extra towards that debt. And then, of course, we touched on this earlier, which is they're probably overpaying Uncle Sam. And we really have to take a deep dive on those expenses. I understand it feels a little painful. You feel a little naked, but listen, you got to be willing to get naked if you really want to know the real deal. If you want to live with rainbows and butterflies, then I'm not the right person for you. I say we got to pull off the gloves. I'm going to pull back the curtain. We got to see everything. I'm going to have to give you a financial x-ray to really see what is going on. Where are your dollars going? It's typically not that we're not bringing in any money. It's that we have these leaks that are coming out. And business owners get busy. They just don't take the time. They don't invest the time. They just think, I'll just make more money. They just pay the bill and move on because their life is too painful. That's why you need a team of experts who are the experts in their field and can bring that specialized knowledge to that entrepreneur and business owner.
That indeed. And, a lot of people have to understand that, if you pull your money the wrong way, you can get double taxed. That weakens your valuation. And not only that, you're killing your working capital. And so having these conversations with a person like Leah, as she shared from the beginning, this is part of your strategy. You need to have these conversations now. And people that did have these conversations now, right, and further or earlier in their actual, financial livelihood, or when they were younger, like when my friend asked me, hey, David, you need to sign up for this insurance. I was like, nah, I don't need that insurance. That insurance policy now would be well over $1 million if I had got it when I was like at 20, 22. But I decided not to because financial literacy is caught, not taught. And that is exactly why Leah is sharing with you, hey, she's going to rip the Band-Aids off in a nice, kind way, right? And give you the 1, 2, 3. But, this is really going to be able to help you out just like with anything. When you're knowledgeable and you know about things and you can get the right information, it makes it a whole lot better other than finding out when you have those emotions, when things are not going the right way, when you do have a death in your family, when you know somebody's sick. And so taking care of these things, as we share with our customers, be preventative. And so many times we're not preventative in our lives and it gets caught up to us. And so as we take a little break real quick, Ms. Leah, we have some amazing people that have joined us as always. You have Sharon Rose that has joined. She says, hey, beautiful souls, peace and blessings to all from Phoenix. So she's on here. She says, gam, gam, in the house for sure. And then we have Ms. Lisa Fedrick in the house, our menopause specialist. You guys definitely got to go check out her rooms on Tuesday. We got Timothy in the house as well, Timothy Keller. He says, hey, everyone. And then, of course, we have the amazing Chietza in the house, loving your avatar costume. Hi, Coach Leah, Tara, and David. She's another one of our community members as well. So those are people that are in the building all across all of these different platforms. So you guys make sure you come and visit us in the metaverse, of course.
Shout out to my peeps. I love you all. Great to see you all. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Mic Drop.
So
you got the mic
as
always, Mr. Mic Drop. And you're right. If you had set up that life insurance policy, you could have been using the same dollar twice. You talked about working capital. I love that you use that term because often business owners are looking for that working capital. Cash value life insurance is a way that they can leverage the same dollar twice. And it is, I don't even know why. It's such an underutilized strategy for my entrepreneurs and business owners. If you love Bitcoin, that's great. If you love crypto, I love it. If you love real estate, that's incredible. But we got to look at how can we leverage our dollars? What if you could get that real estate and also have your investment? Why wouldn't you? What if you can buy that Bitcoin, but still have your cash value life insurance working for you? This is what I call, that's why I talk about money checkers, right? Most people are playing that money checkers. They make some money to spend some money. They make some money to pay some money. They make some money to give it to Uncle Sam. We got to play chess. And that comes from leveraging those dollars and using that working capital. So that was a great point I wanted to highlight from you, Mr. Mic Drop, as dropping those mic drops as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And as we should, we can talk about these things, and we say this all the time, right? People say, hey, how can I get this information? How can I learn more? Well, there's a great place you can go to, and you go to leahgarcia.io, as you see flashing at the screen, and you can go and take her amazing interactive wall of wealth, and you can have a starting point, because you don't know where you're going until you know where you're at right now. And so many of us will not look at, the downfalls, and not even the downfalls. I wouldn't say regret, reflect. A lot of the times we regret on the money that we spent and the things that we got that didn't make any sense, when we should reflect on those things. And now moving forward, we can utilize our money in better places. And that's why having these conversations with Leah, and or just going to leahgarcia.io, going to take that amazing wall of wealth that's interactive, and just booking a coffee chat and getting down and getting the right answers, because you would not believe, just like with metaverse, just like with AI, just like with fintech, people don't know what they don't know, and half the time they're wrong at what they guessed or what their brother-in-law told them on the couch voting for American Idol from last year, and they could be so much further off, right?
That's right. They have to stop following the Kardashians and start following me. Follow me. I'm telling you, I'm the money doctor. I'm the money lady.
That you are, Miss Leah, that you absolutely are. I have to laugh because we will focus our time. You say stop following the Kardashians and start following you. You hit the nail on the head. All too often we are more worried about what someone else is doing in their life, about, what they ate, where they went, what they wore, instead of, worrying about our finances so that we don't run out of rope at the end of our life. And are living in a cardboard box underneath the bridge, and, as the Kardashians drive past you. They're not worried about you, so we don't need to be worried about them. And that's what a lot of people, when we talk about taking the gloves off, is the 2x4 between the eyeballs and letting people know that, hey, okay, fine. We all like to be entertained once in a while. But when is it that you are in the Roman Colosseum being entertained to your own demise? And that's what a lot of people are not realizing, that they're sitting in the Roman Colosseum watching their own demise and not waking up and smelling the roses going, I need to pay attention. There's people outside here, i.e. Leah Garcia, who is helping people make that transition by education. And once you have education, you turn it into knowledge once you implement it into your life. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, because we're too busy watching what the Kardashians wore or whatever it is, the ABCs of that drama, right?
Yeah.
So I would share, and I would ask next is, what happens to my business? What happens to my employees if something happens to me? Back to that Kardashian effect. They're not going to stop and help you or your employees. So what happens? What's that safety net?
Yeah, most business owners do not have a succession plan. So if something happens to them, we think of, if they die, but what if you become incapacitated? Who has those power of attorneys? Who can keep the lights on and keep your business running? Does your business require that you are there every single minute? It's probably not going to be functioning if something happens to you. And by the way, maybe it doesn't happen to you, but it happens to someone you love, your spouse, a child. And now you're forced to back away from your business. Having a proper succession plan is owning a true business. That means who can keep the lights on, who can write those checks, and please do not just put somebody on your business account so that they are a co-signer, can also be a co-authorization on your checking account. Please do not do that. You're opening up yourself for so many cans of worms, liabilities, taxes, and all those things. And then having a written plan and knowing who is going to take that business over. Are you building somebody up? Are you hiring somebody in? Are you going to be leveraging maybe systems that are in place that can keep the lights on and keep the business running if you're unable to be there? And if you don't have a succession plan, we got to get that together. You don't have a true business. I don't care how much money you're making, because it's not how much money you make. If you have to work on your business every day, that's called a job, with all due respect. And you came here to have a business, a true business. You can walk away and it still functions without you.
That's the kicker. The functionality of your business that you have created, and what that develops into when you're not in pocket. I think a lot of times people, we say, well, okay, we might take a vacation for a week or two and we can plan around that. But what happens when the unexpected happens and you weren't planning to take a 3-4 week vacation that was mandatory because you're in the hospital and you can't be there? You can't run your business. What safety measures do you have in place? Why are you not talking, with Miss Leah here about that conversation? Again, we don't want to have this conversation because we came from a generation, we were raised by a generation that had these different safety nets that are no longer available to us. And I think that's the biggest key that I forget about, and I think other people forget, and that you have said it multiple times, but like we share all the time, it's sometimes you say it differently on a different day, it lands. So how do I balance paying off business debt with saving for that retirement?
Yeah, we got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We can't avoid saving and investing towards retirement. It's just something you have to do. You have to take advantage of time, the value of time. Just like Mr. Mike Drop alluded to, if he'd had that $1 million sitting there in his life insurance, he could be leveraging that right now for other investments. So if we don't start now, you're going to be too late. That's all there is to it. So it starts with stop overspending in other areas. Have somebody really take a deep dive into your systems, into your process. What are you spending? Where's money going? And then at the same time, understanding that there are advanced strategies to pay off your debt in a fraction of the time. And I'm not talking about the debt snowball. If you're still doing the debt snowball, with all due respect, the debt snowball has melted. That is an antiquated, outdated strategy. But there's other strategies. Maybe you could leverage money in a solo 401k. You could borrow up to 50% from the value of your solo 401k to start paying off debt. Very low interest rate there, and pay yourself back. You can also use the advanced strategies that I use for the leveraging if you have a business that you own, right? And it's without double paying or paying extra payments. I'm helping my clients get totally out of debt. I'm talking about student loans, credit cards, car notes, mortgages, business expenses in 7 to 10 years without paying extra. It is possible, but listen, it's knowledge. It's something that you would think it would be common knowledge, but it really isn't common knowledge. The traditional industry wants us to stay broke. I said it. It's true. They don't want us to know these strategies. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I want to dig in on that because you hit something on the head. Is you're helping people pay things off in 7-10 years without having to pay extra. Yes, every situation is different. Every scenario is different. But a lot of times, like listening to your share, I put myself in a perspective of being a consumer. And I hear you say that. And the first question that pops up that I know if I have, other people have is, okay, give me a generic scenario. I know it's talking about generic and everything's specific, but how do I pay things off if the debt snowball is melted and dead and gone? How do I do that without putting more money towards it? What would be an example of how that might work?
There's a couple of different ways, but I'll share with you one of my favorite ways. I mean, I talked about the solo 401k. There's also a great strategy to pay off your credit cards, even if you feel like you don't have any money at the end of your month. We use an advanced strategy for loans. As opposed to a traditional loan, you pay the majority of the interest up front. So if you have $1 million mortgage and you're paying $10,000 a month on that mortgage, maybe a small fraction of that, $1,000 or less, is going towards a principal. We reverse that so that a majority of the interest is, the majority of your payment is going towards a principal. And what that means is you are going to accelerate that payment towards your mortgage, towards your business, and pay it off in a real small fraction of the time. I've done this over, it's almost every time I see it, it feels like it's magic, but it's not. It's math. Math is absolute. It's the numbers. You look at the numbers. If you pay the interest up front, it will take you 30 years to pay off that mortgage. And then everybody tells you, well, double pay an extra payment, pay an extra $100. But really, if you reverse that and now the majority of your payment is going towards a principal, you don't have to pay extra payments. You pay the same payment and now you'll pay off that debt in a fraction of the time without paying that extra principal payment, without digging into your monthly expenses and being able to, having to take those dollars off the table. Now enjoy the dollars that you have, But it's not how much money we make, but it's how much leverage that we can get out of every single dollar. It's squeezing all the juice out of the orange.
I love it. I love it. And, as we talk about this, 45% of business owners say they do not plan to fully retire. And so this is why, those that do actually plan to retire, they actually end up with 2 to 3 times more net worth at retirement. So just think about that. As I shared earlier, you have the conversation, 2 to 3 times more richer. So that's a decision and a choice that we all get to make. Do I want to be 2 to 3 times richer than I am now? By letting go of my pride, letting go of my ego, and having somebody look at, what I got going. And 9 times out of 10, it's nowhere near as bad as I think it's going to be. And nor is Leah going to say, oh my God, you are the worst thing since I've seen somebody 3,000 for, and you spent, $1 million when you were 2 years old, and you bought, every car and every house when you were 15. It's not that bad, and we make it so much worse than it needs to be. So, Chietza has a question that hopefully you can answer, right? What goes along with what we were talking about.
I love it.
So within a trust, is that part of that? Like, and for example, having nominated particular niece of mine as a trustee when I'm gone. So could you help her maybe a little bit with that? And this could be even more the reason why people should be booking these 15-minute calls to maybe ask that question and maybe get a little bit more, detailed question that they can take them further.
That's a great point. Yes, you are right on the money, Ms. Chiesa. A succession plan really does involve not just strategic planning with the finances, but it's also putting those living trusts in place. People think it's a will. No, it's not a will. You generally need a will and a trust. It's really estate planning is what we're talking about. So yes, having those people that we're naming the succession plans, or successor trustees, the people who have the powers of attorney, the medical directives and all of that can make those decisions if you're unable to keep your business or your household running. So great question, Chesta.
I love it. I love it. So, moving on to probably one or two more questions, right? So since we're talking about this, how can I build, passive income so I'm not dependent on just the business?
I think a lot of times business owners have ways that they can add an additional income stream within their business. Oftentimes, an entrepreneur or business owner thinks that if they have 5 streams of income or 7 streams of income, it means that I got to sell real estate and vacuums and vitamins. But really, I look at how can they monetize their business now. So do they have subscription service? I have one plumber that has marketing a subscription service. Instead of paying that big plumbing bill when things happen, you pay a monthly maintenance. And so those are different things that you can do to start adding additional income streams within your business. I mean, I'm doing it. Go on my Business in a Box and you're going to see there's additional income streams there. I've got different courses you can take. I've got things that you can purchase from there. So it's really looking at this strategically. We have to be able to see with a different set of glasses and look behind the curtain. That's why I talk about looking behind the curtain. What is there? What's in the cracks? What's under the sofa cushions that you're missing?
I love that. What's in the sofa cushions? Just be careful. Might be some crusty Cheetos down there. You might, misplace a few coins down there. Hey, you put that towards your piggy bank. But I love that. And you're absolutely correct. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I need multiple streams of income, and they're in the financial services like you, but they're over here and they have, I don't know, pantyhoses or, hair products. Nothing wrong with that, but there's no synergy synergy between
Yes.
the products and your messaging, and so they don't work cohesively, because in the human brain we can go, I'm talking about my financial retirement future, but wait, I need some deep conditioner and some new pantyhose. Those
Yeah.
aren't in the same conversation.
No, it's not congruent. It's not in alignment. And it takes a lot of bandwidth if you're switching back and forth from all those things. I think it's grinding people's gears. When I see people that have those multiple streams of income, but they're all in diverse, different types of industries, then I see them expending a lot of energy.
Bingo. It's kind of like running in 7 different directions while you're pulling the same common goal, and you're not getting anywhere because you're pulling in those different directions. And we know that from experience, and that's why we share it. That's why we are open with people, and you're having these conversations. So as we wrap up this amazing conversation that we've had today, our last question for you are, what are some options if said person is not ready to retire in a traditional sense? What can I do that will still benefit me, get me geared up, get me to where I'm protected so I don't run out of the end of my rope and have more life than rope left?
I think if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, I think this is a huge opportunity for our new and younger entrepreneurs and business owners. Do you know that it's like over 50% of businesses are owned by people over the age of 55? Okay, so that's our Gen X and that's our baby boomers. And they don't want to retire. But you know what they would love to do? They would love an opportunity to step back from their business and maybe do some consulting. I think this is the greatest time that we've ever seen for somebody who wants to be a business owner to be able to buy a business without having to come up with a lot of capital. Because what if you said, listen, I'm going to keep you on as a consultant, and in lieu of, a huge down payment, what if you help me to finance this? They want to stay active. This is our first, I think this is our first generation that really doesn't want to retire because they watch their family retire and really not do a whole lot. They want to stay active. They're still young enough. They still feel good. They're still smart. They've got all their faculties and they feel good physically. They want to stay active and engaged. What a great way to be able to stay active and engaged in your same industry, your same business, without having to do the day-to-day. I think there is a lot of business owners that would grab that opportunity to stay engaged in their business and yet gracefully exit their business, monetize their business, and give somebody younger an opportunity, because the truth is their children don't want to take over their business. I know most entrepreneurs think that is going to be it. They really don't. Very, very few family members want to take over your business when it's time for that retirement. So that's one thing that you could do. Obviously, doing some consulting, find some other ways to leverage, teach what you already know. I think we have so much knowledge, but we don't share it. And if we don't share it, it dies with us. And that's the most tragic thing that I see, is somebody who's worked their whole life to attain this incredible specialized knowledge, and yet they don't ever leave it. They don't ever find a way to leave that true legacy, because you know what? True wealth isn't just leaving our money. A true dynasty is leaving our intellectual property also. I talk about the 5S. It's truly having wealth in all the areas, in your faith, in your family, having a strong family, obviously your finance, your fitness, your fun, philanthropic, because givers gain. Who do you want to give to? What is the thing that you would love to do that would leave your mark on society? Maybe you don't have children. Maybe you want to start your own foundation. And then, of course, food is a 7F, because I'm a foodie and I believe that food is what connects us. And it also is, how we share our traditions and our customs. And it's costly to have good food.
It is costly to have good food. And I really want to support the share that you just opened up to everybody is that many family members don't want to live the dream and take on that business to the next generation. I know that specifically because I am watching my brother, whose dream was he took over the construction business and trucking business that my father started, and then he has built that up into a very successful business and wants to sell that on to, or not sell, pass it on to my nephew. And my nephew's not interested in that, not at all. And that is a hard pill to swallow when you've worked your entire 30, 40 years to pass that off. And now you have to kind of go, I need to replan and re-strategize and do something different because that legacy of passing it off. And so I share that to a lot of people out there, that what Miss Leah is sharing with you, that I've seen that happen more often than not, that the next generation, I watched my brother not want to do another business that my father was doing. He was not interested in that business. He was only interested in the trucking side. So it happens more often than not. Kids are moving away. Kids are doing different things. So you need to readjust your strategy about how you're going to move forward with your retirement in different ways that work for you. So Miss Leah, you know, what a wonderful conversation we've had today. It's been so impactful, informative. It really helps people understand your wealth of knowledge on all of these home fronts. What's some closing remarks you would love to leave our audience with as we roll into the spooky season of Halloween and Dia de la Muerta, and as we love and remember our loved ones? How can we tie that back into our financial impact conversation we've had today?
Yeah, I mean, it really is having your wealth today doesn't mean anything if you don't create a dynasty for tomorrow. It comes with planning. You really have to get naked and have that financial x-ray. You really do. I got to look at all your lab works. I got to look at the testing that they've done. So we've got to be willing to peel back the onion. And then from there, we can start that planning. I promise I'll make it easy for you. You know, there's no judgment here. There's nothing that I haven't seen. Those stories, Mr. Mike, that you shared, yeah, I've seen it all. I've been in this industry now 20 years. So it starts step by step. It's not going to be a one-time event. I have some clients that it might take us 12 months or years to start putting these strategies in place, right? It's step by step, one step at a time. But I'm here long term. And that's a great thing. I've been here 20 years. I feel like I could do easily another 20 as long as the good man upstairs keeps me here. I'm going to be doing this because I can do it right here. I don't even have to show my face. I can be in the metaverse all day long and twice on Sunday. So hopefully that is something that people can really take away, and definitely go to my Biz in a Box. I've got all kinds of financial tools, and I'll leave you with this. If you have missing money or you think you might have missing money, go to my Biz in a Box. There's a link there and you can go ahead and look and see if you have any missing money. Maybe somebody left you some money that you're not aware of. Maybe you had overpaid a bill and it's there for you. I found a couple $100 that I wasn't aware of, even though I check that every couple of years. There's always something there. So check it out. Go to my Biz in a Box and go to the missing money link. No cost, doesn't cost you anything to see if you have missing money.
And I will, tenfold that, because Tara and I did the same exact link, and I think Tara was able to find like $5,000. I wasn't able to find like $3,000. So many things out there, from apartments, from loans, from rebates, from all these things that you didn't or you forgot about, that's sitting in a bucket, and you can go and claim those. But once again, guess what? It's you pressing the button. It's you taking the time away from your favorite Netflix, from your TikTok scroll hole, from your Instagram time theme, and really digging down into your business. And a lot of the times we want to put 2 and 2 cents together and figure out somebody else's business. We need to put more cents together and figure out our own business, as we continuously talk about, and have that 2x4, have that slap on the wrist, have that come to Jesus conversation, have that, hey, you got to do it, But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Tara says, what Leah says, what I say, what your mama say, your granddaddy say, your mama say, whoever says it. It's up to what you say, and more importantly, what you do. And you all have the same choice, the same decision, and the same 24 hours that we all have. So don't allow your excuses stop your execution at the end of the day. And so make sure you guys follow up with Leah. Go get that wall of wealth. Go book a coffee chat with her. Go take advantage of that free money, your money that's out there. Christmas time is coming up. So if you're wondering where you're going to get that money from, boom, Leah just gave you a great resource. So that's why we continue to share with you guys. Show up to these events, press some buttons, and you never know what you can find. Or guess what? You might not need it, but you can say, hey, you know what? I was looking at these 3 monsters in Metaverse, and there's this there's this link that you can go to and leahgarcia.io and go get you some money so you can get the kids what they want for Christmas. Go get that PlayStation 5 that they don't need, but they're not going to be yelling and screaming at you. Boom. There you go. It all is one at the end of the day. And so make sure we're caring and we're helping everybody as we move forward and get finished with 2025.
I love it. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. So without further ado, guys, you guys know the drill. We'll see you guys later. Love, kindness, integrity, but most importantly, commitment and consistency. Until next time, toodles, everybody. Check out this amazing video.
Are you a business owner looking to secure your financial future and create a lasting legacy? I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional, and I specialize in guiding businesses with up to 50 employees on how to effectively protect and transfer their wealth. We break down silos with my unique approach, the Wall of Wealth. Imagine a seamless collaboration among your CPA, tax attorney, estate planner, and insurance expert, each playing their part in perfect harmony, ensuring your financial strategy is not just effective, but a true masterpiece. My passion stems from my own journey, from growing up on food stamps to dreaming of building community centers that empower others. Together, we'll craft a roadmap that not only safeguards your assets, but also nurtures generational wealth for your loved ones. Let's transform your vision into reality. After all, you can't measure the heart of a champion just by looking at them. Join me, and let's make your financial future shine.